Okay, so today we're going to keep practicing with translations of shapes. And I know that a few of you reached out to me and said that you were confused about how to do this, etc. So I wanted to do a couple of these practice problems with you as best as I can, because obviously we can't be in person, so it's a little more challenging, but just try to pay attention, and I'll try to use my highlighter tool to show you how to transform figures, or translate figures rather, okay? So our first translation for number 1 says to translate 1 unit left, okay? So that means each point on our graph, so X, G, Q, and U, all need to be moved 1 unit to the left, okay? So for instance, if we move X 1 unit to the left, and I'll use a different color, I'll use red. Now X prime would be right there, okay? And it's more like an apostrophe, okay? So we literally just moved X 1 unit that way, okay? So now we want to do that with our other points. So G, if we move G 1 unit to the left, it is now here, okay? And we would label that G prime. It's okay that it's on the other shape. As long as you're moving it the correct amount of units, that's all that matters, okay? So then Q prime would be 1 to the left. It would end up right there. And that's Q prime. And then last but not least, U prime, 1 unit to the left. Ends up here, label that U prime, okay? So then we just want to connect it, make it an actual figure, and voila. We have our pre-image translated 1 unit to the left, so the image is now in red, okay? All right, so let's do number 2 then, because number 2 has both a translation side to side and up and down, okay? So number 2 says move it 1 unit right and 2 units down. So take this point by point, okay? So point E, I'm going to move 1 unit right. Okay, so I would be there. But I also need to move this 2 units down, okay? So my 2 units down would be from here, 1, 2. So my new point for E would be right here. Do you see how I moved 1 unit to the right and 2 units down? In pink is 1 unit to the right, blue is 2 units down. So that is where E prime would lie, okay? So for T, we have to do the same thing. 1 unit right, and then 2 units down. So 1, 2. That leaves us at T prime. Okay, next, and actually I'm going to write that above just because that kind of cuts into our shape and I want it to be on the outside. All right, so I prime, where's that going to be? 1 unit right and 2 units down, 1, 2. It's right on the end of our graph there. That will be I prime. So connect your, wow, that was bad. Connect your lines. Mine's a little over, but okay. Now, the figure ETI, or the triangle ETI, was translated 1 unit right and 2 units down. You just do it point by point, and you should get a translated image, okay? So 3 and 4 are just like that, okay? So you're going to get the same worksheet. You're going to do 3 and 4. Now number 5's a little bit different, but nothing that you're not capable of doing, okay? It says translation 5 units up, and it gives you the points of the original image, okay? So if you want, just plot these points and then translate each point 5 units up, okay? Or we learned the algebraic way to do it, okay? So a translation of 5 units up would be x is going to stay the same because x is either left or right, and y is at plus 5. Okay, 5 units, up would be plus 5. So if we take each of these points and we plug them into this equation, we can figure out what u prime, m prime, and l prime would be. Okay? So what I'm going to show you is plotting them, and then I will show you how this equation works as well. Okay, so I'm going to pause this, and when we come back, we will get to actually doing the algebra. Okay, so what I did is I plotted just these points that they already gave me. I plotted all these points, and then I moved each point up 5, which I showed with the blue highlighter. Okay, so now what I want to do is actually write down what these coordinates are. Okay, so u prime is at point -1, -2, -3, +1. Okay, m prime is at -1, +1, 2, 3, 4, and L prime is at -2, 0. Okay, so what I want to do is kind of look at this formula now. How could we use this formula to go from these points here to these points? Okay, so what I'm going to look at here is my x values in any of my original points changing? My u was -3, we'll use -3 here. M is -1, M is also -1. L is -2, L is also -2. Great. Okay. Well, now I want to look at how did I get from, we'll use yellow, I guess, -4 to +1. Well, -4 plus that 5 gives me +1. -1 plus that 5 gives me +4. -5 plus 5 gives me 0. So we can also use this algebraic formula, which we got from these words, to find where our image points will lie, where the translated image points will lie. Okay, so I don't really care if you need to plot it first and then just move each point to where it goes based on what the words tell you to do, or if you use the algebraic formula, okay, which is this right here. That is totally up to you, but on number 6, you will try that on your own, okay?